My coverage of CES 2015 is made possible by Fractal Design and WD. To learn more about their products and to say thank you for supporting Paul's Hardware, go ahead and click on the sponsor links in this video's description.
Excellent!
Hey everyone, and welcome to my first video of CES 2015. This is the video where I'm actually not in Las Vegas yet, but I think you'll still be interested because this video is all about what I'm bringing with me. That's right, what's in my bag. Actually, most of the stuff isn't in my bag right now. Let me go ahead and fix that. So here's everything that I'm planning to bring. I'm sorry if it doesn't look very organized. Trust me, it is. I actually have two bags that I'm going to be filling up right now. My camera bag over there, as well as my laptop bag right over here. And apologies if the audio quality has just gone to be kind of crappy because my Zoom H1 that I usually use to record audio is one of the things I'm bringing. So I'm just using in-camera audio on the Canon 5D Mark II right now, which incidentally I'm not bringing on the trip. This is my Swiss Gear backpack. This is my laptop backpack. I've taken this on quite a few trips already, and I think it's absolutely fantastic because it's got the space for the laptop back there, and it's got tons more pouches and everything to fit all the other stuff. I'm sorry I don't know specifically which model that is, but they don't really list it on the bag very much themselves either, so that's their loss, I guess. Second bag here is my actual Canon camera bag. This one's fairly inexpensive. I think it's only like 40 or 50 bucks from Canon. This one actually has all the separators inside if you have a DSLR or something like that. As you can see, it's pretty empty right now. So this is the bag, which is a bit smaller. So I'll be taking this onto the show floor and out and about with me, whereas the laptop bag is going to probably stay back at the hotel room with the laptop and the stuff that I don't want to carry around all day. You also might notice that I removed the Canon logo from this bag, which was right there because that's kind of like a steal me sign. Moving on to equipment though, I'm going to start out with my audio recorder here. Now a couple things to bear in mind as I'm showing you this stuff. One is that I'm completely on my own this year. I do not have anyone going with me. I'm shooting everything myself. I'm talking to the camera myself. And I'm also going to be doing all of the editing myself while they're at the show. Now, I'm not doing a ton of videos, so I should be okay, but these are my two primary recording devices. So I got the Zoom H1 on the left, which is for audio. I have a little windscreen that goes with it, and I like this little mic because it's so portable. It's got built-in storage, so you just pop in the card right there, and then you have tons and tons of storage. Pro tip, tape over these switches because they're easy to switch and accidentally move yourself from MP3 to wave mode or that sort of thing. It's got a separate line in, so I can actually do a separate mic input into this and use it just as a recorder if I want. USB can be used to set it up as a microphone for a laptop or like a standard computer, or you can use it to transfer straight from here if you don't want to pop out the memory card. And then also you've got a line out so you can actually monitor the audio too. So really nice little compact recorder, and actually I'm just going to be using the included built-in microphones on here for most of what I do because they actually do a really good job. That's what you usually hear from me, although I do try to keep this positioned pretty close to my face as I'm talking. Now the other thing about this is that since I'm recording audio on this, I need to synchronize it with the video that I record using my camera. And the camera, if you guys didn't watch my last video, is the Panasonic Lumix LX100. This is a ultra compact to some degree. It is pretty substantial for a compact camera, so it's not quite as small as like an RX100 or one of those, but it does shoot in 4K. It has a really nice lens. The other thing is that as far as audio goes, that's one of the drawbacks from this camera. It doesn't record very good audio. That's why I'm doing separate audio from the Zoom H1, but that is why the next thing I'm going to show you is some of my workarounds for how I'm going to be recording separate audio with the Zoom H1, recording stuff with the camera, being able to record myself at the same time, and also making it look somewhat reasonably good for you guys. Okay, there's one other thing I need to show you here with the LX100 because it's going to affect how I record things, and it's also pretty cool. So if you go into the menu here, this actually has built-in Wi-Fi. So I'm going to hit that, and then what I've done is I've taken my older cell phone, the LG Optimus G here, and I have basically set it up to use it as a monitor for this camera. So once it recognizes the Wi-Fi network, these are both going to sync up, and basically it lets me use the phone to control the camera, which is cool for a number of reasons, primarily being the lens cap is on. Yeah, so primarily, like if I turn the camera around, I can, as you can see, my camera updates with what it's seeing, so I can get a live view of what's on the screen. So yeah, one of the cool applications of this is that I can point it at myself and still be able to see myself as I'm recording myself. This is really weird, by the way, because I'm recording a video of myself, recording a video of myself, recording a video of myself. That's pretty meta. Okay. But anyway, as you can see, it's fairly awkward to hold both of these, so I did come up with a solution, or a couple solutions, to hopefully work around that. So for the what's in the bag over here on the camera side, the camera bag side, let's start off with my assortment of tripods, or at least sort of tripods. I also need to say a big thank you to Monoprice in this video, because although they are not a direct sponsor of my trip this year, they did send me over some cool stuff to try out. So we have the Monoprice RoboPod here, which is kind of a beefy little mini grabber tripod, which you can angle to attach to certain things. I'm going to bring this, but I'm not probably going to be using that primarily because I found this other little flexible guide to work pretty well. This little mini tripod is one that came with my Zoom H1 accessory kit. It's just small and portable and useful for if you need to set up a quick camera on a table or something like that, or a audio recording, so I'm going to bring that along as well. This one right here, however, is the Monoprice flexible tripod, and as you can maybe tell, I have modified it because what I want to be able to do is walk around with my camera and be able to position that Zoom H1 to point towards me at any given time. So I have totally ghetto rigged basically the shock mount from my Rode video mic in order to hold the Zoom H1. That's what those rubber bands are. And then I've totally like ghetto zip tied it to the edge of this, or to one leg of this little flexible tripod. Now trust me, this is actually a fairly effective solution, as I will show you in just a moment when I actually set it up and do a demo. I want to move through the rest of what's in my bag first though, before I show you how I'm going to be filming stuff. So stay tuned for that at the end of the video, or if you're impatient, just go ahead and skip. This does have a little quick release plate at the top, so you can pop the camera off, which I think is very nice, and a little mini ball head also. And then of course it's a tripod, so you can make the legs flexible. And they're kind of squishy too, which I like, so you can set it up wherever you want or wrap it around things. I've also got these magic arms over here. Jay actually introduced me to these magic arms. I'm going to bring them, although I don't think I'm actually going to be using them, at least the configuration I have set up right now, I don't need them. I just have them as a just in case, or maybe if I do a bunch of selfie stuff. I've got a smaller one and a bigger one, and then I've also got a little clamp that you can use to clamp to something, and then it's got like little 1/4 inch threaded holes in there so you can attach other camera gear to it. But moving right along here, we got some screen wipes from Canon. Those are very nice to have. This is also some lens cleaner, which I've never actually used before. Q-tips, of course. Little lens pen. These are fantastic. It's got little brushes on one side so you can easily clean off stuff, or if you've got something more gunky on this side, it's got a little polisher, so you can use that to keep your lenses clean. Of course, bringing both of these cell phones, I've got the new Nexus 6, still working on the review for that, but then I've also got my LG Optimus G, which I'm using as a monitor for the LX100 when necessary. Of course, we're going to need power, so I've got my charger for the LX100. I've got one battery already in there, and then I went ahead and added, or went ahead and picked up another real actual battery. Battery life on these is really great, and I think with 2 of these I should be able to film all day without issue. I also got a separate little camera bag here. This is a, what is it, a Low Pro camera bag, because I needed something a little bit bigger for the LX100. This has a nice soft interior. It's got some space in there for some memory cards. This little guy fits in there just nicely, and then that'll be able to hang around. I'll probably look kind of doofusy with like a hip bag, but it's functional, and that's really all I care about. That's pretty much the what's in the camera bag stuff as far as the camera gear for recording. Although I do have an extra camera in this one right here. This is the Monoprice action camera, and it's kind of like a GoPro. It's made for like outdoor use and stuff like that. It's really easy to use, but it records 1080. It's quite a bit less expensive than a GoPro, and I'm mainly going to be using this to get like shots when I'm like driving in the car, or things that I may be a little bit too nervous to use the LX100 for. Now for the action camera, I also got this from Monoprice. This is basically like a selfie stick. Compact camera extender is what it's called, but you can extend that out, and then down on this end it has a standard little 1/4 inch camera mounts, and you can sort of angle that around. Moving right along though, we have some battery backups, of course. I've got one from Monoprice here. That's an 8,000 milliamp hour one, that one right there. That actually belongs to my wife. I have a feeling she's going to steal it. That's okay because I've also got a Rosewell one right here. This one is 13,000 milliamp hours, so that should be just fine for recharging my phones if need be. For additional power, because I need a AA battery for my Zoom H1, so I got a bunch of those. Got some 9 volts, of course. I have this card, the Easy card, in case I need to take the subway in Taiwan. I don't know why that's there. Oh, that was an accident. Okay, also we of course are going to need digital storage for recording things. So for that, I've got a 64 gig Samsung SDHC, got a 32 gig Samsung SDHC, got another 64 gig. Look how tiny that is. Look how small that is. That's 64 gigs right there. So I can use that with the adapter. Honestly, I'm hoping that just with the standard 64 gig right here, I should be fine for all of my footage since I'm not recording in 4K, but I'll have backups. And then of course I need micro cards for the Zoom H1. Usually I have a 2 gig, which recording with MP3 version works just fine, but I've also got this G.Skill 16 gig that I can pop in there if I actually do start to get low on space. I've also got flash drives. These are USB 3 and they're really fast. HyperX one is a little bit faster than the Voyager GT, but I like them both. 64 gigs each, and that's just if we need to transfer data around between me and other people who I'm going to be filming with or rooming with or whatever, Tech Syndicate crew perhaps. I can copy straight to my laptop via the card reader, but I have this one which is USB 3.0 if I need it to go a little bit faster. This is like a $12 or $13 purchase from Amazon though, and it doesn't, every once in a while it drops. It's not as consistent as I would like it to be, so I might just use the built-in. Of course, we can't edit we can edit on a laptop, but we can't with just the trackpad. So we've got the Razer Death Adder right here, which is kind of my standard travel-in mouse. We've got additional storage here in a couple SSDs. So I've got a 500 gig SSD that's in the laptop. These are both 250 or 240 or 250 gig SSDs with this little adapter here, which is USB 3, which makes them great as working drives, and they're still really, really fast, and I've edited in this manner before. I've got two, so I have a backup, and just in case space runs low, I can switch back and forth between those. And in case you're wondering, this little USB 3.0 adapter actually came with the WD Black Squared drive. But I've been using it for this purpose, and it's fantastic. My laptop is the Asus G550JK, which has been doing a great job. At least it has since I upgraded the storage, because it ships with the mechanical drive, but I've got a 500 gig SSD in there instead. These are some V-Moda headphones, which are overpriced in my opinion. However, they do go over the ear and do some good noise blocking, so they're decent for that. I like taking these on the road because they have this nice little traveling case. I've also got some Rosewell earbuds in there, which are also pretty good for noise blocking and travel, and if you need to listen to something and block out outside noise, so be able to use either of those. For some more storage on top of those SSDs and the internal storage that's on here, I've got a WD My Passport Air. This is a 1 terabyte drive, and this is the one that's made for Macs. I'm actually going to have a good time reformatting this for PC. Here's some cables. Of course, USB micro cables. I've got a USB on-the-go cable here in case I want to transfer stuff straight from my phone to like one of those flash drives over there. I don't have any Fractal stuff per se. Now, although Fractal is a sponsor, I really didn't have much use for most of their products on this trip since it's like power supplies and cases and coolers and that sort of thing. However, this is some Fractal swag that they gave last year at CES. As you can see, it's got the Fractal Design logo on it, although it's made by iShare. I might use this depending on the situation. If we have a wired Ethernet connection at the hotel, you can plug that in right here and this can become a hotspot. So you don't have to use the crowded hotel Wi-Fi, which is kind of nice. It's also got a built-in battery charger. I think it's only like 3,000 or 4,000 milliamp hour, but nice to have. It's got a card reader, so if my card reader totally fails, I'll have a backup there. I'm not getting the feeling that this video is going to be much longer than I originally planned, but I'm going to plow through because this is all important stuff that I'm going to find use for. Power strips. This is my Rode video mic, and as you can see, I've completely removed the mount because I reused that for the shock mount that I built on my little tripod, flexi tripod over there. I'm still going to bring this as a backup, and that's why I also have 9-volt batteries in case you're wondering. I have some miscellaneous stuff that I'm also going to be bringing though because it's just good. It's just good to have. Screwdrivers. This is one of those little cool screwdrivers. It has Phillips, and then you can pull it out, and it's got flathead on the other side. I also got a micro screwdriver kit that I got in my stocking for Christmas. I have playing cards because we're going to be in Las Vegas. I have a water bottle Not that WD is my sponsor or anything. No, this was actually sent over very, very graciously by WD as part of a little Christmas swag box that they sent, which is super awesome. But I'm going to be bringing that and using it because it's a nice water bottle. You should always have a water bottle. I got some meds going on here. If you can't tell, I'm actually suffering from a little bit of a sore throat and a head cold, but that's okay. If you're going to CES, try to get sick the week before, but be better by the time you go to CES. That way you'll have really high blood cell count. That's my strategy. This is just a first aid kit. It's got some bandages and stuff in there. We've got Afrin in case my nose is stuffed up. We have this. Oh my gosh. My wife got me this stuff. Vegas is so dry at this time of year. Cold and dry. So we have some enriched hand cream. That's going to be fantastic. Vitamin C for increasing the immune system's ability to immune system. And some daily facial moisturizer. Again, my wife got me that. Some Advil, of course, for if you've had a long night, maybe. And then lastly, we have some snacks. I'm excited about these, though. Apple pear strudel, Cliff Bars. Got some jerky, of course. That's important. I randomly grabbed these. These are from last year, and they're little LEDs that Rosewell sent. I just put these in here. I don't know. They're just attention grabbers. Maybe I'll find a unique place to use them. Also got some gloves just because of how cold it's going to be. And these have little things so you can still use a touchpad on your phone. That's kind of nice. A notepad and pens. That's always useful. Don't forget your CES badge. Oh goodness, that's important. This is actually last year's. I'm going to be picking mine up on the show floor. We have a bottle opener for opening fine bottles of wine or other vintages, or probably more likely beer bottles. And then I'm bringing all these cable ties as well as some of these Velcro straps because my wife put these in my stocking this year, which is why she's awesome. But I have a feeling I'm going to make use of them, so I'm bringing some of those along as well. And this is that Monoprice action cam. This is going to be camera B. Again, this is just made to be really simple to use, so it's got a wide angle lens on the front. You can use this button to take pictures. You can just slide the switch forward and back to start and stop recording. It's made so you can use it like with heavy gloves and stuff like that. And on the back, there's a little lock on this panel, which pops off, and then you can access the internals, such as a HDMI out, a little card reader, which is where I'm going to put my memory card, well, card slot, switch between HD and full HD, reset, and then of course a little USB out. So pop that in there. And I can start using it. So here's setup number 2, and this is probably going to be my main setup when I'm wandering the floor and whatever. I'm using the flexible tripod from Monoprice, and there's my ghetto rigged Zoom H1 there on the corner. Now, there's other ways I definitely could have done this if I had. There's actually a little 1/4-inch adapter that I know I have, and I searched my entire house for, and I couldn't find, but I don't know, they're just gone. So this is why I went with this solution with zip ties right here, holding that little piece on, and then this has an actual shock mount, so the rubber bands are keeping it from making contact with the rest of the little setup here. What this means I can do is when I'm recording, I can kind of angle this back towards myself, although I should always go clockwise. So I can twist this around to point it back towards myself to capture my audio a little bit better, or I can twist this around forward so that if I'm recording something and I need to capture what's being said or somebody's talking or anything like that, I can do that, and or I can go for something in between, and then I can angle this leg, since it's totally flexible, to point it wherever I want. And then the last thing that I really like about this setup is if I'm somewhere where I have, say, a table to sit at and interview someone or something along those lines, I can still use this as a monopod. And lastly, here's my kind of also somewhat ghetto rigged solution to doing a selfie cam if that becomes necessary. So I've got one of my little magic arms used back here, just connected to the camera. The other end of it is going over to that clip that is holding my Optimus G, and then I'm using the Wi-Fi feature with the camera so that I could theoretically be pointing this at myself and recording myself. I know there's a ton of glare down here on the screen, but this is what the camera is seeing right there. So if you're filming yourself, you could make sure that you still had everything in focus and that everything was still framed up nicely and looking good. But I suppose there's still one last thing to do, even though this video has gone on much longer than I originally anticipated, and that's just to see if all this stuff will actually fit in my bags. Well, looks like I'm all packed, so see you in Vegas.